Welcome to Oh, you can tell I need to wake up here. So I know Starley and I were talking about how our kitties have been waking us up. So anyway, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world today. So today I want to welcome back my friend Starley. She's here today with us, and today's discussion, we are going to be going over visibility isn't the goal, impact is. And this is just basically continuing from our last conversation we had, which is episode 120. If you go back and look at that, which was called, it was working from cleaning carpets to working the red carpets. So I will get that right here today. So I don't know what it is, but all of a sudden my words are tangling here. So
I know
welcome,
what it is.
Starley.
I know what it is, Tammy. It's because when we get around like our people that we have a trust factor for, and especially if you've got the sister energy for, or just you finish my sentence, and I'm like, oh, Tammy, you finish my sentence. Because that's one of the great comforts that you have when you have close friends like us, and when you have such a close knit community like you do. We just feel like we can totally be ourselves and remember what I say, people forget flaws, they don't forget fakes. So they like when we're real.
That's true. Well, and they get us real every week because I don't go and change anything on any of these reels. So that's
Yeah.
too much work. So, and I like it to be authentic. I want people to see, hey, it's okay to make a mistake. We're not perfect. And just every once in a while that happens, right?
Yeah. Well, so Tammy, my live television background, perfect or not, it's there. So, uh,
Right.
yeah.
Kind of like when we were talking about modeling or when I was trying out for a movie years ago. We're talking, what, 30 years ago when I was doing the modeling and that stuff. My voice changed on me when I was being interviewed. And I was like, what is going on? I do this all the time, but my voice was changing and it was annoying. Of course I didn't get the part and they're like, you look perfect for the part. You have the experience, but it was my voice.
Yeah. So, and that kind of proves with our title there, with your Peter Brady moment there from the Brady Bunch. You said visibility is the goal, right? It isn't always the
Right.
goal, but impact is. So the impact was, oops, yeah, it wasn't what they were looking for. And that's what's happening with a lot of us online is we don't need to show up perfect, but we do need to be purposeful. And so in that particular example, that's an interview and they want a very specific thing. And people will ask me all the time, okay, I don't have time to be perfect across 5 platforms, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and this and that, or I have a fear of being on camera. We don't have to be perfect. We just want to be purposeful because that's where people get confused. Well, how do I be authentic but be impactful? Right. And it's not the same thing as I've seen casting directors say, we want someone who's kind of tall but shortish. It's not contradictory like that. It really is. You can be authentic and effective, right? Just like you can be kind and use very choice words.
Correct.
Yeah. And so I just want to make that differentiation because I get it. People will come in, they kind of stress on, vent a little bit with me. And they go, well, I want you, you told me you need to be authentic, but I went on there and I made a really bad first impression. I was like, you can rehearse and have muscle memory and still be authentic and still be effective, right? And I get it. It's like something we have this really confusing messaging out there, like on YouTube and lots of different cool tips and tactics. But I get it. I get why it can be confusing
Right.
because you're like, how do I be authentic and be impactful? Because I got all these people teaching authenticity without being impactful. And then you have all these people teaching how to be impactful without teaching authenticity. And so I'm here to say a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today with all the fun stories behind the scenes and with the cool red carpet things, they all lead to these same examples of Tammy's amazing title of visibility specifically is not only the goal, it's being impactful. So there we go.
Very, very true. Well, and it just brought up a memory. It wasn't long ago, a friend asked me, she's like, you you go and you change something, you brighten up your photograph when you take photos. And I'm like,
Right.
well, yeah, because I want it to look exactly what it looks like when I'm looking at. What people forget is sometimes the camera doesn't, or you might have had something on the lens or something else
Yeah.
going on, or the lighting might not have been perfect.
Yeah.
So if you go change it to look like it looked exactly when you were there, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And so you have the people that are so afraid to make a little tweak or to
I get it.
practice, like you said,
Yeah, I get it.
that they think that they're taking away from that authenticity, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not.
Well, let me give people some examples. So, I say this all the time. I've been saying this for over 25 years on television, and my favorite soundbite in the world is three words, and it's "I love you." And I can't tell you in my 25 years of marriage how many times I've said "I love you," and it's just as authentic and it's just as impactful each time. We even have a shorthand when we're asleep, yeah, and it's we know what that means. It's still, but what that was still not the exact same version, right, Tammy? Well, because we're like, but we
But you
so
knew,
feel it.
right?
We so feel it. So here's the thing. It's okay. It's okay. Like when you were talking about changing something in a photo, maybe I'm going to go over to another subject. It's really popular. It's the same thing. Is, well, what if my photo, I brightened the photo and now the room's brighter and you can see me better. That's an enhancement, everybody. That's an enhancement, right? So you're like, well, I don't want to be an enhancement because I want to be really authentic. Well, if you're backlit and you look like you're in the witness protection program and your features are a little bit hard to see because you're kind of the shadows are here and the brightness is back there, is there anything really wrong with doing the enhancement? I know we're all saying, okay, yeah, the extreme example, of course, is that would be okay. It's okay whenever you feel like that it's okay and however how you want to represent yourself. It's your own identity, it's your own personality. It's the same thing if you want to wear a blue shirt versus a green shirt. So representing yourself how you want to is here's another example. What about all the women who get on camera wearing makeup? Are you not authentic because you're wearing makeup? Because a lot of us like to wear makeup, or at least like the look of the final effect of the makeup.
Oh yeah. And then that's when because I started a kind of a blog, an article on being authentic, and you and I've
Oh,
talked about. I
cool.
need to finish it here, but that
Send it
is
to
one of
me.
the subjects I talk about because when I was doing makeup and stuff on people, and you've done that before as a makeup artist as well, is how many people were afraid. I'd get women that were afraid to wear makeup because they thought they weren't being authentic. I'm like, but you're being you,
Yeah.
you
If they
know?
want to wear, if they don't want to wear any makeup and that's their authenticity because that's what they chose, then that's them. And if they want to wear a ton of makeup, that's their authenticity
What?
because that's what they choose to do.
Right.
I don't wear makeup when I go to sleep. I don't wear makeup probably 90% of the time I'm on camera. I've been on camera without makeup. I say 90%. I think I've been on camera without makeup probably 30% of my career because a lot of times I don't put makeup on for the behind the scenes or my group coaching. But it's just like some days I want to wear workout clothes because it's easier to move around in than to wear a business suit to go work out.
Right. Well, and as I was talking about, because my Northwest Style and Image site is about style and image, right?
Right.
And one of the things is people's like, oh, it doesn't matter what I wear. And I'm like, but it is because what people don't realize is those first 7 seconds, you make an impression on someone. And if you're trying to get business people to actually see you more and to see you as a professional, you do have to dress, semi-professional.
Well, yeah. And then we're back to their choice. So are you trying to attract other
Exactly. And so
business
you're being
people?
authentic, you're being
Right.
yourself. So it's not being just because you want to dress as a slob that day. It doesn't
That's my
mean,
that's my every other day.
when the next person wants to dress, he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to dress up. So, and I always, it's like, even before I go on camera, it's like, oh, I've got to get my teeth brushed here real quick.
It's
It
like,
really matters to being
well, it's
on
like when we
camera,
yeah,
but that's just me.
it if you, it's, yeah, I get it. If it's seen, if you can see it, sometimes we address it a little bit more. But yeah, it's however how we want to present ourselves. So we ask ourselves, what's our personal brand and who's our target market and what's the relationship we want to have with them? So if I were a lawyer and going into traditional court, a lot of the judges want you to dress very traditionally. And if I were a doctor and I had maybe some of my options for my work clothes might be white jacket or scrubs or what have you. I could wear my regular clothes, but if it happens to put my patients more at ease that I'm in scrubs or a white coat, then I might do that. So this is all part of our own personality branding. So I think what happens is in social media where we're really fully free and pretty non-restrictive to express ourselves, so that a lot of times we're expressing our personal feelings that are outside of our business career. But if we're talking about our business careers, well, then there may be some more choices of guidelines, and these are your choices, and there are multiple forms of guidelines. There's nobody's one right book all, and nobody can tell you what's right for you. So I can tell you that I felt more comfortable for my entire career always wearing dark clothes because I work behind the scenes. And anyone like yourself who's worked behind the scenes, we know that if we're passing by camera, so if I'm directing or I'm producing, and this is the camera right here, and I'm constantly kind of passing or moving around the camera, sometimes it's better that it's a color that's not so noticeable. So I got in that habit for many years, and that was part of my identity to wear the darker colors. And then when I started going out on set or stages, I found that I had to double check if the curtains were solid black. So even with the best of lighting, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to separate yourself from the background if you're the exact same color. So yeah, but I will
I,
tell you that what you've been talking about is personal choice. And you as an artist, you're going to have 80,000 personal choices, and you should because you're an artist. There's nobody's going to box you in. Nobody's going to put baby in a corner. When you go on television, you may purposely decide to box yourself in somewhat, but that's because you chose that box. It's called your
right.
personal brand. It's your superhero uniform, however you want to represent
Well,
yourself.
and I learned I was one of those that helped women and men pick out the colors to wear on television
Yeah,
when I was
yeah.
a lot younger.
I remember
Because
the good old days. Those are I was that was so fun. I loved you and I did a whole lot of that on camera image related stuff. Things like the just on the very physical side of face, hair, wardrobe.
right,
And so
and
I
it's interesting. It's fun to learn. But since we're going way out there, we're gonna bring this all the way back now
oh, here we go.
for what
All
our
the way back.
conversation is supposed to be
We
on
were
to.
already chatting on the all the way back. We were in the way back machine on the behind the scene days.
We were. So, as you you have interviewed some incredible guests and different people on the red carpets. So, my first question, and we're going to also talk about the show you were a co-producer on, helped with.
Oh
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
take you back to all the some of those different fun times. I want us to start with where we left off on the first episode that we did with you,
Oh,
which
okay.
was episode 120.
Okay.
And so I want to bring us back to, so I want, because this tells us a lot about you and what you did and what you do.
Cool.
So on the red carpet, when you were interviewing, tell us a story about one of the people you interviewed or what was one of the funnest times that you had.
That's awesome. Well, this interview reminds me of your whole storyline of this interview, your interview. And so when we were talking about visibility versus, the impact, had I not learned how to be able to make a strong first impression in a short period of time, so that was, 25 years of being on television in 3 minutes, where it's like we got to take our 30-minute podcast or an hour podcast and
Right.
put it in 3 minutes. So had I not learned that, then this cool story wouldn't have probably even happened. So, I'm international Emmys and there's a red carpet correspondent. And I saw a lot of people going by, and a lot of times it's kind of those games where you at the arcade where you're trying to grab the little toy and grab because they don't all line up perfect. Sometimes you have to kind of be proactive and try to reach out and very graciously get someone's attention without rudely verbally grabbing them. You're like, hey, you know, hey you. Yeah, I
You're
don't
not
really
that obnoxious one that's trips them or anything like
well,
that.
yeah, those are not my style, we'll say. So Nigel Lithgow went by, and I knew a tiny bit about his backstory. So I get really interested in people, not so much about their status. I respect their status. I like to learn from their expertise that got them their status, but I'm really interested in their backstories and wherever our personal connections are. So I heard him say at one point that art saved his life. Well, my first interview, that was a huge focus. We talked about how art saved my life. Growing up in a home of domestic violence, my first 17 years, and art was my huge escape. Well, then what did I do? I went into the television world to help create stories and other people's stories, right? The whole art, you know, saving your life segue continues. So when I was on that carpet, I asked Nigel, I said, I heard that you said art saved your life. I felt like it did for me too. Tell me why for yours. And so I think that took me 10 seconds or less to ask that question. And just the way I set it up for him, the fact that I'd already done some sort of pre-production, which is research, which is interview
Right.
research, 10-second question. Now, was impactful because it was a question that hit home for him. But had I not done the research, it, I mean, I would have been kind of guessing and maybe it would or wouldn't have been impactful. When you only have 10 seconds, 20 seconds, well, really 10 seconds maybe to ask the question before they decide to answer or walk away or stay with you a longer time. So,
And I think that's the good point there. No matter what we're talking about, whether it's the first time you meet somebody dressed, making sure when you ask that question, our impact, it only takes a few seconds to make that impact or that first impression.
yeah, well,
And so you want to be prepared for it.
perfect, Tammy. Perfect. I mean, break down what happened right there. All right. He had to look over and see me in a sea of other people holding microphones. Right. And some of those people had big name TV stations on their cue cards. Right.
Right.
And I was a smaller fish. I mean, I was sharing my footage with other CBS and Fox affiliates, but I think I was sharing with local and nationally syndicated. I had national big like E channel and all these big names next to me. So get the way you get somebody's attention, that was the first couple of seconds. Just everything that stood for my facial expressions, my body language. Was it respectful or was it like, hey, get him out? You're trying to fight, throwing elbows, because I've seen different stuff in those crowds. Some people are pretty assertive. So
Yes.
my first impression was made before I ever opened my mouth and
Yes.
said one word. Then I asked that 10-second question that came from what? 30 minutes of research 5 days before I ever went out there. So I just really wanted to put the impact that people, I don't want people to have the pressure that they need to be perfect in their first 3 seconds, but it goes back to what I'm teaching. Be purposeful. And so if you think about things before you do them a little bit, how does that make it any less organic? It just probably makes it organic with deeper impact.
Oh, it does. And you're like me because I've worked with around famous musicians and
Yep,
producers and different
yep,
people I've met in
yep.
life. And I wanted to it's not about their fame. I just want to get to know who they are. I
Yeah,
want to know their
100%.
backgrounds, their stories. I want to see what they're actually like
100%. So
and ask them questions because they're just like us. They just get up and put their clothes on just like we do, right?
they're just like
So,
us, but they have to speak a little more compactly. But you're 100% right. Like you've seen a lot of famous people behind the scenes, and you know that it's the same. Put the pants on the same way, maybe in a little more hurry, or maybe they're more on camera pants or something. But it's the same thing. So, but to that exact same example on that interview, I could have got on there and made the interview about me and said, "Hey, Nigel, I'm a big fan of yours. I love when you say how art saved your life because that's how I feel too. And let me tell you about when I was growing up and how that made such a big impact on me and what I'm doing in my career and what I'm doing today. And he would go that he would be very gracious because this is a gracious person. And the interview would be really more about me and not about him.
Mm,
So I had to figure out, again, we're going back to compactness of that first impression. But it's not easy to be compact if we haven't done research.
no,
Because
it's
that,
not.
right? Because I can tell you, I, my husband and I, if we're in a hurry and we're trying to tell each other something really fast, it almost sounds like we're being disrespectful, and I can see the look on our face because we don't have a rhythm with that, and we don't. It's a new subject for us, and we're. Well, I was just trying to say this, and so it was. A lot of times, it's better that I kind of thought it out in advance. This is more important to him than it is to me, or this is language he recognizes and I need to remember to use this language, or I know this language really ignites him. So I don't really want to say it that way because that's just a word that doesn't mean anything to me, but it means something to him. So I'm just big in think about it first, feel it in your heart first. If it's something that's with your work, maybe research it first. Way when we're presenting ourselves to these situations that might only have this period of time, that's where we feel the pressure cooker and we're like, well, I can't be myself. Well, I'm like, well, of course, because you're not walking around living life in 3 second sound bites or 3 minute sound bites. Yeah, that would be stressful, right? Tammy, you're on.
Oh, I had somebody do that before at an art gala, and they didn't tell me. I had no idea I was talking, right?
Okay.
And they're like, Tammy, I'm like,
See?
I can't think of anything to even say because I wasn't prepared in my mind. Because if I'm a little bit prepared in my mind, have gone over stuff, it's
Yep.
so much easier to let it flow out. But if you're not prepared, it's kind of like when I was doing fashion shows. You had 30 seconds to change into a completely different outfit and get back to the runway, right?
Yep.
You had to change earrings and shoes, the whole outfit. But you had to make, you said, be prepared.
Yeah.
Because if you go into your closet right now, if you say you're going to go change, can you change in 30 seconds? Or are you sitting there going, oh, what am I wearing today? What shoes am I going to take?
I can. Now the audience is all right. You little, my mom would say,
Okay,
nobody likes to
Starley's the
know it all.
exception.
Only on that
She's a
one
little
thing.
OCD. Okay.
Only on that one thing. Well, because I spend so much time on camera. I'm looking
Right,
at.
but if you were at home and didn't have
Oh,
those
then I'm
outfits,
terrible. Yeah.
you prepared. I mean, I know I could go to my bedroom. I was like, okay, 30 minutes.
If I go into
Yes.
the big closet without some,
What am I wearing today? What event am I going to? If you're told in 5 minutes you have an event to go to, you need to be there right
yeah,
now.
I
You're
pick
not
out
prepared.
10
But
things with 10 matchy things. And then, yeah. And then by the time it's time to go, I'm, God, I figured out the one I want. And I'm like,
I'm
no
the
time
same
to put
way.
it on.
I always
Yeah.
give myself at least 30 minutes usually to get prepared. But looking back, it's like, how did I do it in 30 seconds? But
I
you
would,
just get used to doing that. But it was prepared, like you said. You
well, mixing
prepare for
paints for
it.
you.
We went the night before. We had everything set out perfectly. So we knew exactly what we were doing. But yet we knew that things could happen,
Yeah.
a tear or a rip, but we always had a backup
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah, no, totally. I was making the joke under your conversation though. I go, it's like mixing paints for you because I would take forever to mix paints, and you'd be like, oh, you just grab these two because this and this color make this, and I'd be over there, la la la. Oh, that does make purple. 10 minutes later, accidental mixture. Look, I discovered a color. So for you, it's a muscle memory, and it's not even as much about rehearsing as it is muscle memory for fast prep. And so, and
Yes.
that's why I like was being silly and I showed, well, I have like wardrobe that sits over there that's just for the webcam that it's acceptable, for the webcam. Because there's a lot of, if I had to go into my main closet, I'd accidentally, because I'm distracted, I'm thinking about what we want to talk about, what the subject of our thing is, and I want to be accountable, to your audience. And then I go and pick some shirt that's this kind of crazy distracting or something like that. So I think if we look at our people in the audience, they can ask themselves, what's my message? What's my expertise? What do I already have muscle memory in? And is there anything else that I could do to prep a little bit more that would increase my superhero qualities? And I think I would just lean towards that because it always breaks my heart, Tammy, when people come to me and I don't feel like I can be authentic on camera and be effective. I'm either going to be myself and be great, or I be myself and be authentic, but I might forget a few questions. I'm like, okay, that's all right. People would rather you be yourself and forget a few questions. And then, or I get every single question perfect, if I'm the one either asking or answering, whichever side you're on. But because I was tired or I felt rushed or I was distracted by my phone or something, whatever it is, you know, I felt disconnected with the audience, and I think that they could feel that too. Or I felt disconnected with the host or the interviewee, and they could feel that too. So if you had to defer to, there should be a little bit more effective or a little bit more authentic. People forgive flaws, they don't forgive fakes. So I can't tell you how many times on television where I'm like, oh, I can tell we're gonna run out of time. We have 5 tips and we're on number 3. This is gonna be the last one. 2 tips aren't gonna get talked about. Now I could have just went, okay, well, and try to shove those 2 tips in really quick and been
Right.
OCD Starly. And then the host would have been like, wow, thanks for making that awkward and confusing for me and the audience. And they might not have wanted to have me back on. So I became asked back as a regular on 3 stations within my same market in overlapping, sometimes the same years or periods. And it was because I would defer to protecting the relationship and honoring authenticity before I would just try to, hey, I'm only going to be on TV for 4 minutes, so I got to make it worth it. And I'm going to scarcity mode and show everybody my fear. If not, I had to get my 5 points in. And it's about connection. And
It is. Well, it's redoing your research, even researching who your host is. So
yeah,
to see if you, because when you have a connection, it makes it so much easier to talk. Now,
that's why we love to
Adriana
talk.
just left us a message here. She's
Oh,
watching.
yeah. Hey, Adriana.
Even with research, I find it challenging to be compact. It's a real skill. Can't wait to learn more from you, Starley.
Woo! Well, Adriana, one of the things I love about her in that question is it's the real leaders in the industry that continue to educate themselves. All mentors are full-time students. And
Yes,
I
we
think,
are.
yes, yes, yes. And so what happens is a lot of the times, Tammy, when we're out there competing for visibility, right? And this impact, then what'll happen is we feel pressure of being measured, right, in the competition. And so we don't want to show up looking small or new or incapable. I mean, of all things, we're definitely proud of our expertise. We're definitely proud of our credibility. But, I don't want to ask a question because that might make me look like I'm not an expert as well as I really am. See, whereas you and Adriana and myself, we feel comfortable to ask questions. We don't feel any weird energy except for the good energy of feeling like, wow, I'm so lucky I'm going to get an answer because I'm in a crowd of this community where we all want to serve each other and we want to give each other these answers. So, but we'll exactly talk about Adriana's question, and that is the compactness, right? And I think she said even if she rehearsed, is that what it said?
I don't remember.
I think it was to that effect.
Yes.
But so that's probably in the vein of it.
Yeah, even with research.
Even with research, not rehearsal, but with
Yes,
research.
research.
Okay. Well, I'll throw the one in there, and next time we're working together, Adriana, we'll do rehearsal. So I felt really silly the first time I did rehearsal. And this was years ago, long before people were using terms like imposter syndrome, or I don't want to look like faux, or I'm an actor because I'm this expert. We see because experts have had more pressure to be in front of cameras than ever before to get this visibility, to get the connection, with their audience. And so I get it. We feel this pressure. So rehearsals for some of us feel, well, that might be inauthentic, or the pre-planned thing. I don't want to be an actor. And then, and then if we start saying somebody else's words, we get imposter syndrome. That's okay. Say your own words. Memorize your own three favorite words or three phrases. How many times, Tammy, since we've known each other, have you heard me say people forget flaws? They don't forget fakes. Or,
Oh,
I went from cleaning carpets to working the red carpets. I don't feel inauthentic for using muscle memory for words that came from my own heart and my own real experiences, and I'm repeating them because I
right.
only have so much of a memory here. So I'm going to be grabbing some of the muscle memory phrases from back here that came from here so I can share them here in this period of time. And so Adriana's question is just perfect. It's what she's probably also asking,
Well,
not for herself, but all her students too, because this is a pressure that we feel, like time pressure.
yeah. And one of the things I realized is when I first had to go with promoting my own art, and a lot of times, even as an expert, you
Yeah.
don't feel like you're an expert, or you
Oh,
feel like you're being, what do you call it? Conceited or stuck up, or you're just bragging all the time. But you kind of are, because if you don't promote yourself in those instances, when I meet different people and my clients, I have to tell them about, hey, I started selling art at 14. Oh, I've been selling here and here and here. You have to promote yourself. It's just a
yeah.
different way
Yeah.
of being. But at the same time, I did practice it, at least in my mind and stuff, what I was going to say before I even met with the
Yeah.
client.
100%, Tammy. I agree with you. And so here would be one of my examples is one of the things that I tell my clients is, hey, when I'm helping you with your alignment on your personal brand, you're sometimes going to be surprised that I spend so much time talking about who your dream client is, because those have to be aligned. And part of the best way that I can serve my client is to get to know or become or understand deeper their client. Most of my clients, I am their client. So that's really helpful for me, right? And
Right.
then the thing I remind my clients is, it's often more effective and more authentic and connecting if you fall more in love with your client than you do your work. Now, most of us, that's a mouthful, because most of us, for what we feel are the most heart-centered reasons, that we are in love with our work. And part of the reason why we're in love with our work is not because we're conceited. We're in love with our work because we have servants' hearts, and we have a pride of servitude. It's a pride of servitude. And so we're, look what I made you, this beautiful art. Or for myself, I'm, look what I put together for you, this beautiful event. And so it's okay that we have an excitement about our own work and showcase the love we have for our own clients. So if it was me selling art, I feel like I'm going to channel Tammy for a second here. I'm not going to do a very good job like Tammy does herself. But what I do know, and this is reversing the interview now, spilling the beans on Tammy. What I do know is that Tammy cares so much about her clients that she wants to find out what personally motivates them, drives them, makes them happy. And she wants to make sure that that essence is in the art and not just the mechanics of it in the art. So this is right. So this is Tammy falling in love with her client while she is pridefully showcasing that work that she's done for them. So now, everybody here listening, would there be anything wrong at all if you knew that Tammy was in love with you as the client? Oh my gosh, you're the best. I do this for you with my servant's heart. Would you have a problem with Tammy be excited about her own accomplishment that she did for you? No. And do we expect that Tammy should live under a rock with no food or water or ability to procure more paints? No, right? So we live in a society currently where we're operating with this transaction of monetary exchange. So that's okay. Let me give you one other example.
That was,
So
yes,
if
let's say
Tammy, if
that
you were
was.
trying to tell me about a restaurant that you wanted me to go to, you wouldn't be embarrassed and go, well, I mean, while you're in town, you could go to this restaurant. I like it, but I don't know that you'll like it. But you'd be, oh my gosh, I love this restaurant. It's so great. I know that you love angel food cake so bad, and it's over there. It's at this restaurant. Oh my gosh, you have to try it. You know I'm going to spend money when I go over there. I'm going to have to take out my wallet and go to the restaurant, and I'm going to have to buy something. And so if you were recommending someone else, all of a sudden you're just such a big, you know, excitement, the transaction. But when we're selling our own things, sometimes we have an uncomfortableness selling our own things. And the funny thing is, Tammy, is the uncomfortableness is usually never with selling something we don't think is worthy because most of us just wouldn't even sell it. The uncomfortableness is selling something that we think is, look at this baby that I created for you. This is my creation and I did it for you. And so it's a lot of times we don't want to put a price tag on it, and if we do, we're afraid to kind of in the back of our heads get a little rejection in some way about the baby, this project I created for you. So yeah.
Thank you so much. And Starly, just what you were such a good example of someone that actually listens. And I just want to put it out there as a coach or a mentor because I've had coaches, even though you're a friend and you are a mentor, but you listen to what I tell. You listen to when I tell you what my clients are like, how I love my clients, and everything is about listening to my clients to get
Yeah.
the perfect art piece for them. It's designed just for them. It's not about me. It's about, I tell them about what I do and can do for them, but it's about them. So
100%.
thank you for listening there. That is priceless. It's kind of like if you go to a doctor and they don't listen to the fact that you are complaining about this or that, you walk out. I went to 5 different doctors before they realized, and my knee was swollen. It was totally dislocated. It took 4 hours of surgery. 5 doctors told me I was making it up. So you have to find that person, that mentor coach that listens. So I know that's
100%.
kind of off track, but now
No,
we're
it's
going to bring
not.
you
Thank you.
back, my
Can I have
friend,
to say one
to
thing
what
before
was it
you?
like
Yes.
to work with the America's Most Wanted on that TV show? I want to hear
Very
about
cool.
it.
Very cool. Yes, ma'am, I will. I want to just give you one compliment on top of that to say, I want you guys to know that sometimes you'll hear Tammy and I talk over each other a little bit. And oftentimes in my other interviews, I don't do it as much. And I have such a sisterly connection with Tammy that we sometimes will step on each other and we just think it's bonding and fun. And I mean, honestly, if we could just be hugging right now, have sisterly hugs, it would be so great. But we get excited and if I don't want to create any confusion when we're talking, but I think that you can at least see that we do have such a authentic and legitimate and close connection. But Tammy, thank you for always listening to me, listening to my heart, and for always trying to set me up for success. I can't tell you how selfless you are and to present me to your precious community, people that you've spent a long time nurturing. And I don't take it lightly when somebody presents me to their community, and you especially, because you do it so openly. And okay, I will be good and I'll answer your question now, but I had to say thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, honey.
So it's my honor.
Well, all right, to be a good girl and answer your question, I will segue into the answer, which is so first of all, being a field producer for a national television show is scary the first time that you do it. And it's no joke. It's very serious. Remember, this is live TV. Also, this is a live television show where I could be in pre-production for 2 months or 2 weeks, and then the headlines change because for good reasons, like they caught the bad guy, and now they're going to do a new show on a different bad guy in another state that I'm not yet prepared for to produce. And so there was a lot I learned about pre-production and time management on a much deeper level, and started doing a lot of plan A, plan B, plan C type things. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that they gave me, and that opened so many other doors. But what a lot of people don't realize is the my first big break on getting that television show is because I got noticed on some other show that was a freebie that I was doing for resume credit. And that was one of the hardest jobs that I've ever been on. And people were threatening to walk off. And I believe a couple of people actually did walk off. So it was a non-paid job that you were not really getting treated that well. And I treated it as though it was the best paying opportunity, the best paying job, the best of showcasing myself, even though I knew I was 100% invisible and that where's the pay it forward in front of anybody else's eyes. Nobody knew me, and some people really weren't even treating each other that nicely. So there was no reason for me to perform my best other than the fact that those were my standards. And I was not going to perform anything less than my best, even though there was all these crazy scenarios I just named, and a lot more, by the way. It's an hour story. There's so much on that job. However, the end result was I was, no matter how hard it was, and I came back to town licking my wounds. It was just so hard. It was a few weeks later, I got a call from the higher ups at America's Most Wanted, and they were told I was the only person in my particular expertise that they should work with. And it was apparently one of the cinematographers from that show that I'd never even met. So oftentimes we are one with our reputation and our online presence. We are rewarded today for the hard work we did yesterday or years ago. So this particular example of that television show and that great first break for me getting in on that level was I got rewarded for something I thought I was doing behind the scenes completely unseen. And it's true. We get rewarded for today on the hard work that we did yesterday. And oftentimes it's the work of yesterday that no one ever will see or did see. So,
And I'm just real quick, I'm going to throw
oh
this
no.
out. I was actually talking to my grandkids about this, grandsons. It was when we used to hire people,
Yeah.
I didn't look about for if they had a degree. I looked at
Yeah.
their personality,
Yeah.
what their work ethics were.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what they were like. It wasn't about that they had all this experience. I wanted to see if they could work with the other people that were on the staff, you know.
100%.
And so you could go through quickly 100 different applications because you're looking for those people that have really high work ethics. It doesn't matter because I'm like you. If I said I was going to do this,
Yeah.
I'm going to do it
Yeah.
the best job possible. And then I may quit later, but if I get said I will work for a certain time, then I do, God willing.
Yeah.
But thank you. I just wanted to throw that out real quick.
Thank
Is
you.
it's a high standard, and
Yeah.
if you do that, you'll find you get jobs out there.
Yeah.
There are jobs available for people that work hard, and
Yeah.
people will see you.
Yeah. I feel it. I feel it. And that segues really nice into one of our bullets that I know we wanted to cover. At least I did. I made myself a mental note about people trying to compete right now with their expertise with mass AI. So they may have somebody who can put out 10 or 20 or 50 more posts a day than you can, or emails or sales funnels. And so their quantity, right? And their quantity means they have a better chance, more odds of visibility. And then you have this subject here of um, authenticity, maybe more time, more quality, more of your heart in there. And you're doing all that. And then it's like, there's so much of this noise that it's all my hard work didn't even get seen.
I'm going to throw this out as a visual. So I always get people put it in my restaurant, put your art in my restaurant. You're going to get all this visibility. Well, that's great, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get a sales.
Well, that's your dream
Because
client, your
what if
target
people
market.
don't realize if you put your art in banks or restaurants, unless somebody's talking about that art and car, you're not going to get a sale from it. Yes, you might get
Exactly.
visibility, but that is not making that impact that you want it to make.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much correlation with that. And to continue the lesson even more, like a step further, is so there's the noise over here, and then there's this one not getting noticed, right? Your heart and soul quality post or blog or email or video. So then it's like, how do you compete with this? Because when we look at competition, we go, well, if I'm going to compete, then I need more as well, right? And so in some cases, there's some truth to that. Some increase helps. However, it's like, well, I can't, it took me longer to do this one than it did all of these. So usually you want to try to get some sort of a combination of how can I utilize AI tools to save me time on the things that are the repetitious things and give me more time on focus on the more originality, the more meism in the language, the more authenticity in there. So answer is to compete is actually to integrate. It really is. And but
Right.
you're not using the AI to replace yourself. You're using it to take over some of the tools. And all the other AI experts out there, they're going to have 100 million different examples on how to use the tools to allow you to have this focus on your genius zone. This is just one example on your visibility. And so here's the thing with your authenticity. I also need people to know that you don't have to be 100% naked and share your PIN number to be transparent, to be authentic. So I'm sitting here in my clothes, I feel authentic. I don't need to be so transparent that I don't have any makeup on or I don't have clothes on, right? So this is, and I know it's a pretty extreme example, Tammy, but
It is so true.
I'm the one that hears people crying because they're, well, I need to confess all my sins and I need to show the behind the scenes of what the trash can looks like when it spills. And I'm like, well, if it is that supportive to the story? Is that supportive to the connection you have with your people? Because for in my particular example, sure, there's a lot of those things that might relate to the feelings and the challenges that my clients have. Sure, then those will be the things I share. But I don't need to share my PIN number. That's not going to help them
No. So
because
a
they'd have to
quick,
have the username too. No, I'm kidding.
I know. So going back to when you were a field, what is a field producer for the people that don't know?
Oh, so the field producer is the person that is organizing all of the amazing team members there, plus the host, right? And so if a lot of times the host of the show, like in that case, that's John Walsh. So he may be the host, he may be also a CEO or a founder. A lot of times the host will have a lot of different titles, and you have to represent them correctly on each of the titles. So, there's that. There's the crew that's the same exact crew that flies all over for a consistency and congruency. There's a small number of people. And then there's the local crew, which is a huge number of people. That could be 30, 40, 50 people. And these are booked local. So picture you're doing a special event, right? So your special event's going to need a venue, and it's going to need vehicles, and it's going to need food. This is sounding a lot like my retreat coming up, actually. Oh my gosh. I see the correlation, Tammy. All right. And so you have all of this, and then you have the actual audience to keep in mind. So the audience is not even live, but I have to keep in mind, hey, my videographer, my cinematographer, they're going to be shooting this angle, and this angle is exposing a background that's very contradictory to what the storyline is. It's really, really, really confusing. Like we're saying we're in Vegas, but there's nothing Vegasy looking for them, and yet it looks more like a beach. So it's like, oh, we gotta. So everything from your backgrounds to the food to the also there's a gathering of people around who like to watch. So
Right.
the regular normal people walking by. And then what a lot of people didn't realize is I was dealing with certain aspects of security, certain. So this particular person put a lot of bad guys away and got a lot of death threats. So I would be working with security as well. And then I needed to work with the people at this that were uploading and making all the show come together at the station. So I was the boots on the ground producer, and I loved it. And
Okay. And
that's
that's a lot. It's a
actually
lot of work. You fun.
it's a lot of work. I'll say it's a lot more work than the retreat I'm doing because
Right. Well, any interval. So what is one episode that you did with John that you that was very interesting or stands out?
I would say that to me, it was the episode from the producer standpoint is when I had spent 2 weeks producing, and then I had a couple of days notice that we had to be in an entirely different city with 50 new crew members. So I had a couple of days, and it was over a holiday weekend where you can't get a hold of people. And the only reason why I would have been able to pull off something like that is because of having a plan A, having a plan B and plan C already in effect. So I had something to fall back on instead of, and we were kind of segueing to the retreat. And I'm going to give that same fallback example. So because our particular event is actually letting people listen to speakers who are decision makers, my decision makers they are not the kind of people who are touring, right? To go the kind of speakers you go spend thousands of dollars to travel thousands of miles to go stand hundreds of feet away from. Well,
Right.
my particular speakers are not the people that work the circuit and that you pay them big ticket to be there, or they're going to sell you some big ticket once you get there. My speakers are the real deal decision makers in the industry. And I know that because they are volunteering to be there, that one, they actually want to work with my top 10 attendees in a workshop environment at this penthouse retreat. And two, I also know that my people are so high profile and they're hard to get booked that if they get called away, this is a secret I haven't told everybody yet until this moment, so it's not a secret anymore, Tammy, is I actually double booked my speakers just to make sure that I had someone in every category. So I promised that there would be someone that reviews authors for their books, that's an on-camera television person and that has been reviewing author books for 9 years every single month on TV. And so we also have a member of the media there that's a decision maker, like an assistant news director. They're the ones that are in charge of content of like what gets covered on news, like press releases. If someone comes to your event or your venue or what have you and covers your services or your product or your whatever. And and then we have an owner of a bookstore there. We have a publisher. We have also a podcast show host that's specifically for authors and speakers and more. We have a few more people. But what people don't know is I double booked all of these folks, and all my friends know it because those speakers are my friends. And I've said, hey, just in case you cancel on me, I have so and so. So
Right.
that's where that television, the story of America's Most Wanted and what I did for my own event, I learned that there because otherwise I wouldn't have thought anything of it. And then, maybe on day one, when we have all the speakers, I would have had maybe 2 or 3 empty time slots because these aren't paid speakers brought in to sell you something. These are decision makers that are really hard to get a hold of. And I'm like,
Well, even with paid speakers, there's times flights are delayed. It's like we were talking because we both know Kevin Harrington, and he flies from one event to another. He just takes his suitcase with him.
yeah, 100,
And if the
100%.
plane or a taxi or something's delayed, then you have to switch things up.
Yeah, totally. And I've so you've been at those events, and so when I've shared stages with Kevin Harrington, we were both content speakers that had something to sell at the end. My speakers that are coming aren't selling anything. So, but both examples apply for sure. But I do know that yes, if I said they were going to this kind of person was going to be there, then I got to have my backup plans. So,
Oh, yeah, definitely. And that's being prepared, right? We were talking about so far. I mean, you have shared so many things on visibility and impact and about your event on the red carpet and now the America's Most Wanted, the behind the
yeah.
scenes, because there's so much work there. And I think and it shows what kind of a person and what kind of event to expect
Oh yeah.
there in Texas at your retreat. I mean, it sounds like an incredible opportunity to meet different people than that you normally don't work with. I love always going
Yeah.
to events just to meet people and to get to know
Yeah.
behind the scenes, behind the cameras, what they're actually like. And so I'm excited because I'm going to be there.
Woohoo! Yay! Well, Tammy, here's something that people have been telling me is coming out to meet people like yourself and the other attendees, that was worth it alone for them, and that the fact that they got to meet decision makers was an unrealistic bonus that they barely even know how to measure. But if those speakers wouldn't have even been there, I was told that I went to your event and I made connections and relationships that have lasted me a lifetime. And I know that I feel that same way with you in your retreats. And for mine, everyone that's there isn't just from an advertisement, from a Facebook advertisement. There, nobody's came from that. The only when we advertise our event online, most of the time people are going into our opt-in list, and then they're part of our community and our social community, and they're getting a lot of our free services. But when I'm collaborating with other podcast hosts and with other people that have that are like-minded, like-hearted in our communities, we're everyone's handpicked. It's hand referred and handpicked because there's only 10 people. So I'm super
Which,
grateful, like who I get to serve. These are my dream clients.
right. And your clients, I mean, it's when you're meeting those people too. It's like one of the last events I did, and it's been a few years, but it was in Scottsdale. And I met not just incredible, only the incredible speakers, right? And we became friends. I mean, I still can't stay in contact with all of them.
Yeah.
And then, but the guests that attended, some of those guests, we became really good friends.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
so
what
you,
happened to me on just even on your in your community. I've already met people. Well, first of all, there's you and me. And then I met some of your friends that
oh,
just
my
made such a
this
difference in my life.
community is huge, and there is so many incredible people. And I mean, I want to hear some of their. I want them to even come on and be a guest just to hear share their stories because I know so
Yeah.
many different stories that I'm going, but it would benefit so many people.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're so amazing at having people feel so comfortable when you are talking to them. So it's like part interview, part just fun conversation, and at the same time you keep it informative enough to where everybody that's listening, they get to get the benefit of the casual conversation, but then within the entirety of the entire conversation and interview, there's usable, valuable stuff in there. And it also reminds me of when you're able to, so your interview is long format, and if you're doing a video, I like it when people can get that same kind of Tammy-esque essence of quality, authenticity, but just in a little bit shorter. I mean, at least it's not like the 10-second Nigel question. In your videos you can do your own 10-20 minute kind of thing, and you can really feel less rushed and kind of share yourself. And I know that a lot of people kind of struggle with that and they get nervous on camera, and that's actually our day two, is shooting their actual video interview of their book or their service. And some of these photo ops are being done at an actual bookstore for the authors, and then the speakers are being literally shot in their speaking on their content and getting that video footage to put on their sizzle reel. So I think being able to work with the term media trainer is what's used behind the scenes in television. YouTube calls it a camera confidence. I just call it learning how to be authentic and yourself in a short period of time. Because most of the time we get in the way of ourselves because we don't like to be rushed. It's like, I only have 1 minute. I only have 2 minutes. But once you get the muscle memory, it gets more fun because you're like, wow, look how much information I get to share in a shorter period of time. And you kind of feel more like a calm confidence about it, and not a panicked rush, but a more calm confidence once you get used to grabbing those sound bites and organizing in a
Well,
short
it's
period.
because you know what you're doing. So I have two more questions because we're going to
Oh,
have to close
two
here. I
more.
mean, it's
Oh,
time
I
has
thought we I
flown.
thought we were closed. That's why I was wrapping on the retreat. Yes, I'll
So,
do the power questions quickly. I'll do
I
them quick.
know. So, first one, why is helping people shine so important to you? And then the last one would be, when is the retreat? So,
Okay, good. I'll tie that up since I know. So I'm going to tell you why it's so important for people to shine. I like that word. That's a nice word. So out of my 25 plus career working behind the scenes, 80 to 100 hours a week in the Hollywood and the red carpets, being a record holder on television, all of this kind of name drop bio thing. Why did I bring that up? Because a huge percentage of that was working with celebrities and members of the media, which I'm this kid who grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. And I thought, oh, well, I can't believe I was able to be in this. I'm so fortunate that people gave me these opportunities and that I got to learn these things from them. But what I didn't realize until I started having my own health fail in my mid 40s, and then I started to do caretaking for my mom in hospice, how impactful wellness providers are and wealth experts, wellness and wealth. And I was like, well, where's all their stories? Where's all their big Hollywood show, or where's their big interviews? And where, and I was upset. I was upset because I didn't have that information when I needed it. And my mom never had it. And that's why she got in the situation she did with so much suffering and disease. And I said, well, who's putting the spotlight on the wellness and wealth and wisdom experts? Who's doing it? And then I started kind of sitting up and getting a lot of times when we can't have something we wanted. I'm like, well, maybe I should do it because I know how. So I feel very motivated to help experts that are leaders at this level know how without me, get the training, get the strategies without me, to continue to put that spotlight on not just yourself for your brand, but to put it on the things you believe in so you can actually help the people that you want to help. Because you can't make a difference in someone's lives if they don't know you're there. You can't give from an empty cup if you're not monetizing. So, yeah, that's why I'm pretty passionate about that. And and then segueing into the retreat, I will say that this is not just a retreat I have every year. And yes, only 10 people are allowed because of, I know I can physically carry at least 10 bodies over the finish line. So that's where I pick that number. I pick that number up. Now, the only reason, one of the main reasons why I can get away with saying success stories and take people over the finish line is because I'm handpicking the people I know I can make success stories. So who are those people? Well, first of all, it's going to be the people that need the kind of stuff I teach, right? I can't take 10 people who need their car fixed over the finish line because good luck with your car, right? So, but those particular 10 are going to be people that usually have a bottleneck where there's just one or two things holding them back. These are usually not brand new people that are coming to our event. The majority of the people that are there are some of the best of the best at what they do in their expertise, but they might be getting less and less attention and less visibility because of the massive AI flood of noise that's come in. And so they're like, well, how do I keep being the same cool, authentic, but rise up in the visible, So that I created that event specifically for the problem that these people have. And these people are my people. These are my heroes. These are my personal heroes. And what an honor it is for me to come in there and be able to help my personal hero continue to do the things that I believe in so much that I can't do because I'm not that kind of a healer. That's not what I do. But I can help people who do it. And that makes me feel really good. So I wish I would have been helping all of these healers, helpers, givers, superheroes from the beginning of my career. And
Well,
so,
and
yeah,
sometimes, I think, like you said, the coaches, the mentors, sometimes they need that extra drive, that extra cheer them on, because
that too.
sometimes they need to come to my retreat to learn to relax,
Yeah.
and then they need to go to yours to get cheered on, to be
I always,
encouraged, to learn something new to help
yeah,
make them shine even more.
agreed,
And I
agreed.
know you can do that for them. And your retreat's the end of August.
My retreat is August the 21st and 22nd. And I want to be pretty clear with this. There's no marketing tactic when I say I may never ever do a retreat like this exactly again. And the reason why is because this retreat creates win-win-win between me, the speakers that are going to be there, the sponsors, all the books that are being gifted to the gift bags, the binders that we're creating are part of a great cohort sneak preview for the group coaching that's happening later that summer or fall. And we are doing so much footage shooting there. And because my goal is not for 10 people to attend a retreat, but they are all going to be 10 success stories. That means, and there are already success stories walking in, but a success story on whatever that bottleneck was that was holding it to get to the next level. They're going to be my podcast footage. So they are part of the stars of my podcast show that's coming up afterward in the fall. So there's so many, this is helping this and that's helping that, and it's all one big win-win-win. I don't know that I'm going to need that next year for my podcast show. And of course, I'm going to continue to help and grow, but what we're providing is 10 times more than what you would find at a retreat. They're also getting private coaching, their session before the event happens. So that's now in July. And they're also getting some live social platform and other promotion. And then they're at the event. And then after the event, they've got the private membership site and they're being promoted throughout the year. So that's not something I can do all the time. So I don't know if I'm going to do it again. So I just wanted to put out a disclaimer because it would break my heart to hear from somebody. If you can't do it or you don't think that's a fit, then that's fine. But if somebody were to reach out to me like a month later or a year later and say, oh, I can't wait to do it, I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ever going to do that again. This is created for a very specific place and time. And the way AI is like creeping up on all my people and the bottlenecking. Yeah. But this one's going to be in San Antonio.
I totally get it because I don't know if I'll ever offer a retreat either again. So you just
no,
never know.
I want to go. No, Tammy, no. Mine's 3 months long and all throughout the year. Come on, let me go to your retreat too.
Or it maybe somebody just plays different. We never know because
don't make me beg, Tammy, because I want to go to your retreat.
Well, you better be coming.
Well, you're lowering the cake right there. Every other
I
text.
have cake.
You know, that's how you give. That's how she's giving. She's throwing out.
We need to say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
So I appreciate each and every person that has been on here and will be watching later. We appreciate you. And if you have any questions for Starley or you're interested in her retreat, just write in the comments, interested in retreat. Or if you have a question, ask it. So, and also you can find more information on my retreats and different things that I have going on under unlockingfreedominnature.com. So thank you so much, Starley, for being here. It's been such an honor. And if you notice, Starley's been a great part of our community lately. I love her posts. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes last week. So she surprised me with that and with the retreat little flyer she made up for me. I mean, oh my, come on. Nobody's ever done that. So thank you so much. I appreciate it more than you know. I appreciate everyone who's been posting in our group. I love each and every one of you. And a happy birthday to anybody who had a birthday today. So thanks again for being here and have an awesome week. And go and register for her retreat or mine or both. Hey, but if they register for your retreat, I'll give them a mastermind day free for my retreat.
The mastermind? The third day?
Yeah.
Can I get it too?
Sure. Actually, you have to be there.
I'll come work. I'll carry the water.
So, anyway, just throwing that out there. You just have to remind me that I said this. Anyway, have a great week. Bye.